In Miami in 1980, a determined Cuban immigrant takes over a drug cartel and succumbs to greed. Boys and girls, etc. Say hello to my little film, Scarface.
You want to play rough? Okay. Uno. Say hello to my little
Film. Hello.
Hey, welcome to our podcast.
This is our podcast.
I'm Ariel.
I'm Ryan.
Hey guys. So, this is our podcast not about Scarface. Just
What?
This week it is, but not all the time.
Yeah,
I just wanted to clarify.
Exclusive podcast.
Yeah. So, Say Hello to My Little Film is a podcast that is about movies that have infiltrated culture that we haven't seen.
Yeah.
Or one of us hasn't seen.
Basically, we're cleaning out our queue.
Yes. We almost named it Get a Q. Mm-hmm. But Ryan was like, no, that's dumb. I really thought it was
like,
cute,
Say Hello
though.
to My Little Film is genius.
So because we named it that, we thought, obviously, we have to do Scarface first because I haven't seen it.
Right. The whole point of it is movies that people are like, what?
Yeah, there's references to in culture or in movies.
Yeah,
or
everybody
shows.
knows the line, say hello to my little friend.
Right. I knew that line, but I didn't see the movie.
Film. Whoops.
What was that?
That was a transition bit of
And
audio
we're
that I
back.
have. And we're back! We took a little break.
Hey, we're amateurs. It's
I don't even
cool.
know if it picked up. I'll leave it in right there, just in case.
Otherwise, there's just a few seconds of silence, which will also occur. And we may or may not edit that out for you.
No, let's leave it in. Fuck it. Yeah.
So we decided, we know no one's going to listen to this bullshit, but we thought maybe we will in the future and laugh about it and convince our kids that we're losers. Be like, here's proof.
Okay, so let's start then.
Okay, well,
I think, because this is our, fourth time trying to record
absolutely. We were like, let's try and be funny. And once you say, let's try and be funny, you've never been less funny after
never
you
said,
say
let's
that.
try to be funny.
No, I'm not talking about you specifically.
Oh.
I'm talking about just people. If you're like, I'm going to go into this interaction being funny, you will not be funny. Just as a rule. So, that's how it goes. But I have like an itinerary for how we're going to do this because I'm an over-preparer. And I thought we would do introductions. Oh, but I guess before we'll explain the podcast just a little bit more. I mean, I think we did a good job for the most part, but we'll try to do one.
This is what I'm saying. This is irritating to do because we tried this 4 times. We've literally explained the podcast 4 times between me and you.
Right.
It's just me and you talking right now.
Exactly, guys.
So
and our dog is in here, and that's it.
So this is really difficult and irritating to do. But once we have done this one bit where we explained the point of the podcast, we'll never have to do it again.
Right.
And it will
We'll
be
say,
smooth sailing,
see Appendix A.
Right.
And then you can
Appendix
reference
A.
that.
That's what we'll say.
We'll try to do this every week and do different films. But basically, the rule is just that one of us has to have not seen it before.
Right. And it has to be we're not doing the best movie podcast.
No.
We're
Or
not
the
doing the
worst.
classics. We're not doing bad movies. We're doing movies that are culturally relevant.
Right. And so a lot of that will be classics probably.
Yeah.
But some of it won't be. Like Ryan's never seen Legally Blonde, so.
Right.
And he's never seen Love Actually, so I'm really excited.
I've never
about
seen
those.
American Pie.
I don't think I have either.
See?
So as a disclaimer too, like I was pretty sheltered growing up from like movies and TV, so there's a lot of stuff that I haven't seen.
Yeah.
So just please don't judge because
judge
or whatever. That's fine too.
Yeah.
Just leave your 1-star review.
Don't boss them around. Let them
do
judge.
as I say.
Yeah.
So anyway, we figured since the name was Say Hello to My Little Film, we obviously had to do Scarface first.
Right.
Because it has been years since you've seen it anyway.
Yeah, I've seen it before, but it totally sums up the point, I think.
Right. Everybody knows that movie.
Say hello to my little... You even know the accent and everything, but you might not have seen the movie. So now we've seen it, and we're going to decide if it's actually lives up to the hype.
Yeah. Is it worth it?
Is it worth it? Or is there more to it than just the little gimmicks that you already know about?
Yeah, so, and there's a lot of movies that we have already seen that we probably won't do if we've seen it. I mean, why? That's not the point. But for an example, like, should you see Donnie Darko?
I don't know. I think it's a good movie.
Yeah, for me, it's mostly aesthetic.
Yeah, but how old were you when you saw that?
like 15.
Yeah, but you could probably watch it again. I mean, it's definitely. It seems like it is trying to say something really smart.
I love
I
me
don't
some
know
Jake
if it
Gyllenhaal.
is. I don't know if. Anyway, let's not talk about Donnie Darko right now. What are we doing? All right, so let's just get on with it. Huh?
All right, so the first, I guess we were just going to be like introducing ourselves and then, how was your week?
Yeah, my week was.
We're married, so we pretty much know, but this is for y'all.
Yeah, I did nothing.
You worked.
Yeah, which pretty much was nothing.
I just took care of a baby
All right.
and neglected my dog. I'm just kidding, you guys. I love my dog.
Why would you even? What kind of joke is that?
It's not a good one. Just
No.
be prepared for that. It's going to be a lot of terrible.
Don't touch the mic.
Mic touching and jokes is basically my podcast personality.
Mm-hmm.
They don't give me a guarantee.
Oh boy.
It's like I don't even know who you are.
All right. So, what did you? Because I had seen Scarface before. Mm-hmm. I'm just gonna keep this thing on track.
strong holding
I'll be the straight man.
All right, for once.
For once.
Hey.
Okay. So I had seen Scarface.
Yes.
So, but you hadn't.
Right. So I of course, had like preconceived what I thought it was. Like before I saw it, I was like, I don't really need to see it. It's not kind of my thing. And I felt like I had an idea of what it was.
So what did you think it was about?
Okay, I wrote them down.
You wrote down before you saw it.
Yep, before I watched it. So I definitely thought it was like a gangsta movie.
Gangsta?
Not gangster.
Okay.
Well, kind of gangster, I guess. Like, I didn't think it was like thugs. I thought it was like, you know, kind of like the mafia type. I knew it wasn't Italian, or at least I thought it wasn't.
You thought it was Godfather-esque.
Kinda. Yeah,
Okay.
I thought it was like strong
those
family
two
ties.
do weirdly get grouped together.
Right. It's usually if you're a fan of Scarface, you're a fan of The
It's
Godfather.
the Al Pacino-ness of it
yeah.
all. That's why.
Plus, Al Pacino himself, he's an Italian guy, right? Pacino is an
After
Italian
we watched
author.
this movie, I became curious. I thought so.
I thought he was too.
We'll
Look, you're on
we'll-
his IMDb right now. Does it say?
No, it
in his
doesn't say right
bio
there.
or anything?
I'll look it up in a
Okay.
minute and we'll figure it out.
Please email us if you know. We have an email. Say hello to mylittlefilm@gmail.com.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to, suggest movies or have an input, or if we get something wrong, just let us know.
Sure.
Just want to put that out there. But
Okay.
yeah, so I thought it was like kind of Godfather-y. I thought maybe it was a rags to riches story.
Okay.
That there was a lot of drugs and guns. Mm-hmm. I was right about that.
So you're pretty on the money.
Yeah, exactly. I thought
think that's
crime,
the same
like
vibe.
strong family, mafia type crime family. That's what the vibe I got from it.
Okay.
What did you think of the kinds of people who like this movie, who love this movie? Big fans of Scarface. What do you think of them?
I think there's a bit of a downfall to fans of Scarface that kind of cheapen the movie. I think you can equate fans of Scarface with fans of The Dark Knight.
Okay.
Like, as in, like, edgy people will, have a poster of
Scarface and the Joker.
of the Joker, like, why so serious?
Oof.
And they'll also have Scarface. You know what I mean?
What kind of person is that? Is that like a stoner? Are they all teenagers?
It's like they're in, like, I'm into kind of dark things, I
like
guess.
cocaine and the Joker.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think you would necessarily see the two posters, but I think
the same kind of person.
ultra fans of Scarface, like, I see Scarface shirts that are like 8XL that have like his necklace is shiny on the
Okay.
picture. Al Pacino's face will be completely black and white,
Yeah.
but the necklace will be actually gold. Things like that. You know what I mean? I think that has always kind of brought the movie down a little bit because of its fan base.
Yeah.
It's odd.
But the thing I have noticed about Scarface fans, it is white people and black people. I mean, all races, everybody.
That's what Daryl says in The Office.
But
He says,
okay.
I like the Godfather. I like the Godfather because I'm a cinephile. I like Scarface because I'm black.
But like that's not how The Dark Knight is. That's pretty much all white kids.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. I don't know. I don't know what I'm
Potential
talking
school
about.
shooters.
But that's what I when I think of The Dark Knight fans, or at least when I think of Joker fans.
But see, that movie is actually great, and that performance is fucking awesome.
So it
but
makes sense
the
that the
fans,
fans
when I
are
see
similar.
when I see these people walking around like the mall with you know, because we're in the mall all the time, when I see them
mall
walking
rats.
around, with their Why So Serious shirts, and I see the kind of person with it,
They're
it
friends.
kind of brings the movie down.
Absolutely,
a little
because
bit.
honestly, this movie is fantastic.
Whoa! Just jump into the verdict already.
Okay, I mean, I'm going to talk about how much I love this movie throughout this entire podcast.
Okay.
I didn't expect to love this movie.
So you're just jumping to it.
I mean, let's get to the meat of it.
You want to get to the meat of it,
We
okay?
put it all up on the lettuce. Now it's time to get to the turkey.
Okay. All right. So I guess
I mean, and as an adjustment, like we'll just phase into it.
Okay.
You know.
I'm fine with that, but I think
But
you
that's-
typically have to say whether you loved it or not. Fuck it. It's impossible not to.
Right. Exactly.
can't, because-
but what surprised me and what reminded me of how much I like why I wanted to say that right now is because when you think of the people who like wear Scarface shirts, you don't think that you would have something in common with them. Or at least I would have never thought that I did, and I don't think that they watched it the same way I did for some reason.
Yeah. For full disclosure, Ariel is a very earthy kind of white girl who's into yoga and Starbucks and all of that stuff. So
Like everyone, like all white girls, that's how I am.
right.
And I like to look at the moon.
Yeah, I would not look. Yeah, you like the moon and spiritual. Yeah, so I would definitely wouldn't look at you and say
She's a Scarface fan.
Yeah, for sure.
But there's a lot of parts of this movie that I was like, this is great. However, I'm a big fan of movies that I didn't think I would be, like Aliens. I love
Okay.
Aliens. And I love...
Not the concept.
No. I mean, I'm not saying I love UFOs. I'm just saying I like the movie Aliens.
Yeah.
And I mean, I do think that Aliens in general is interesting.
Okay.
We will definitely talk more about that in a
I'm not
different
going to
podcast.
hold your feet to the fire on that.
But another example of a movie I didn't think I would love is Heat. Like that
That's
movie.
what made us want to do this podcast to begin with. 'Cause I
Basically,
was
we
like,
love Al Pacino.
I hear, honestly, yeah, it's Al Pacino. It's because of
He's
him.
amazing. He did a phenomenal performance. He was so good in this movie that there were many, many lines that I just didn't understand because of his accent.
Oh my fucking God. Okay,
There's a note in here on my
I
notes
took so many notes.
that are like,
What?
Ryan, please explain this scene because I missed so much.
Okay, I'll tell you what. Let's let me get my notes ready. Let me pull up if Al Pacino is Italian, and we'll take 1 second break so I can finish my coffee,
Okay.
and then we will return
Okay. Hang
to
in
actually go through the whole synopsis of the movie.
That's
Film. All right, we are back.
film.
Film.
So
So-
is he Italian?
He is from New York, but his dad is from Sicily, so he
Okay.
is confirmed. Al Pacino is Italian.
I knew with that name like Al.
Confirmed.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah. That name like Al. Okay, so
Let's get to it.
let's get to it. God damn it. This movie. We haven't been able to talk about this movie
We watched
for an
it
entire night.
Yeah, last night, and it was like 1 a.m. and I was like really wanting to record it immediately.
Yeah, me too. I was super hype, and it really was a bit of a bummer to
But
have to sit on it.
we have things to do, so we had to make sure we got sleep so that we
right.
could be present for the day or whatever.
Okay.
Okay, so here we are. I did not expect the aesthetic to be so 80s.
Oh my God, really?
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Like pastel, Miami Beach, like very Miami Vice, is that what it's called?
Yeah.
That
with
kind of
the
style,
white
like
suits
what
and
they're
cocaine
wearing.
and
Yes.
all of that whole like Miami vibe, that whole scene, all of that stuff. Honestly, what got me the most was I'm a big fan of video games, and Grand Theft Auto Vice City is a pretty much Scarface the video game.
Wait, is that video game set in that time period?
Yes.
Oh, that's like the only Grand Theft Auto I played.
Okay.
Because remember, you gave me your old Xbox.
Yeah.
And we played it all night. Like, I would play it all the time. That was
Yeah.
like the only game I had.
The cutscenes, like, and the way he kind of works his way up through crime it's like exactly identical
That's
to
so
this movie.
funny.
I swear I saw things that I was like, oh, that's
So you
why
could be
they
a
did it
video
that
game
way.
developer and still be a fan of this movie. It goes across all genres.
I swear I think it was like their whole mission statement was, let's make a Scarface video game.
I wonder if there is a Scarface video game. You know
There
how they
are.
did like
There
Lord
are,
of the
and they
Game,
suck.
Lord of the Rings video games, and
Yeah,
they're like
they suck.
terrible. Not to, I mean, the new ones apparently are good, but the old ones were so bad.
There's definitely is Scarface video game.
And you play as Tony Montana. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Tony Montana.
Well, let's start with the very, very beginning.
Okay, yes. I have notes about that. The contrast of the sad scenes that it showed in Cuba seemed sad. I mean, there were a bunch of immigrants. There were like a lot of people were crying.
Yeah.
Or it looked like they were upset, and it looked like families were getting ripped apart almost.
Yeah, you could almost say it's pretty relevant in today's climate.
I made a note that said, strong anti-communist vibes.
Totally.
Good old America.
Totally.
Which I agree with. And
I almost think that is like an overarching theme of kind of his path to glory is kind of like the inevitable path of a communist dictator. In a sense.
Oh, interesting.
So I kind of think, because there's little bullets or little, moments where they kind of keep bringing up communists. He's like, oh, communists, they always trying to tell you what to do.
And he hates the government. Like, I guess he has a past where he was in the army in Cuba.
Yeah.
Cuba.
Yeah.
Cuba is how he says it. And I was like, I wonder if he pronounces it Cumin.
Or Cuba Gooding Jr.
Right. I, for so long, thought that guy's name was Cubert. 100%. I was like, there's no way someone's name is Cuba, so it has to be short for Cubert.
Cubert.
Like Robert.
You know who Cubert is?
Cubert seems like a cube man.
No, Cubert is a if someone ever says Cubert to you, they're referring to a video game character that
Minecraft.
jumped on. No, not Minecraft. It should have been.
Because they're cute.
Yeah.
All you do is cube stuff.
That would have been good. But no, he hops on blocks. And he in the movie
Okay,
Pixels,
what's Roblox then?
Roblox is, don't worry about Roblox. You don't need to know what Roblox is.
I'll stick to my Grand Theft Auto Vice City.
In the movie, just for a little bit of trivia, in the movie Pixels, Cubert gets fucked by a man and has little Cubert babies.
What movie is this?
Pixels?
Oh.
That Adam Sandler movie?
I've never seen that.
Maybe we should do that. I don't think it's
don't
very
think that-
culturally
nobody
relevant,
knows that
except
movie.
for the Cubert fucking. But anyway.
My goodness. It sounded like it should be a kid's movie, but apparently...
It's not like you don't see full-on penetration or anything.
Well, it's Adam Sandler. I'm not expecting it to be like porn, but like, is it an animated movie or is it he
live
plays
action.
Cubert?
It's video games come to life.
Ugh. No, thank you.
It's bad.
Yeah. It's Jack and Jill bad.
Pretty close.
Yeah.
Pretty
okay.
close, yeah.
Well,
anyway, sorry.
yeah, I didn't realize that Castro forcing Cubans to go to Florida, Cubans that were in his jails, that was real?
Yeah, this is based off of a real event
real
of
time
the
in
Cuban
history.
migrant crisis.
Okay.
Yeah.
I did not know that was a thing.
Yeah.
I mean, history class
I still
failed
don't
me.
completely understand like why we were just allowing that.
Well, they came into America and then you could see they were in a refugee camp.
Yeah, it was under the.
It was like they were getting vetted.
Yeah, but it was under the guise of they were coming to reunite with their family, is what the opening crawl said.
No, I think that's what he did. Like Castro, it seemed like from what I read in the film, because it was like a little paragraph that you had to read in the beginning, and it said that he opened up, because we had an embargo against them for so long. So it seems like he opened up his marina, some, area on the island to allow families to reunite. But then when they were leaving, he forced them to take all these Cubans that were in his jails. Which is so weird and then not all of them were criminals. It was like 25,000 of the 125,000.
Already had previous criminal records.
But they were like old ladies and stuff that were being pictured at least. So who knows what the real... what really
it's
happened.
Pretty complicated when you're dealing with that many people. But regardless.
But he gets in and he's being interviewed by cops.
The very opening scene of him in that interrogation room. My first feeling, I think every time I watch this movie, is, oh God, I'm not going to be able to handle this.
Because of the accent?
His performance is so strong, and it's shocking. It takes a while to acclimate to what he's doing, to his accent.
His character.
That is, I go back and forth to, is he doing a good job?
I know, because it's so much, and I'm like,
it's so fucking intense.
And I mean, if you think about a real life Cuban who only speaks Cuban or Spanish,
that's another thing I have written down here.
He is really good. His English would have been really good.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Honestly, even though that accent would have made it. I mean, and
But that
I didn't
accent,
understand him. It's so good. I
Is it?
guess.
Is it? Because
Or it's
the other
terrible.
guy, the actor, his partner who was along with him pretty much the whole
Yeah.
movie, didn't sound like him.
But he is actually Cuban.
And
I'm
he
just
was
kidding.
an actual. He looked actually Cuban.
He looked way more Latino than
fucking Al Pacino. Yeah.
I wrote that down. I said he's first of all so cute in this. He's so
What
young.
actor do you think that guy looks like the most? Because
Fez,
Fez.
not Fez. Yeah, Fez
From
from,
that
the
70s
70s show. His friend.
He looks
Talking
like
about his friend.
Yeah,
Yes, so cute.
That is funny. I put Cuban James Franco.
I did not get that vibe.
Okay.
That is so funny. No, I think he looked like Fez.
He looks like Fez, but like the hunky version.
Oh yeah, and I put in here, and I guess I'm confused because of how they dressed back then, and plus, like I think in movies, Latino type characters tend to be way more flamboyant with how they dress once they get to America. And I put like that I predicted he was gay, which I totally got wrong. But he seemed super gay, and it seemed like every time he objectified.
Scarface seemed gay?
No.
Oh,
his
the friend,
His
the friend.
friend.
Yeah.
It seemed
I
like
can see
every
that.
time he objectified women, which happened a few times in like a lot of times in the film.
He was like almost overcompensating.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, he's gonna like try to kiss Tony, but he never did.
if the movie was made today, that probably would be a beat. that they would put
Absolutely.
into it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That would've been good.
But yeah, I thought that was so funny. I really like that guy.
Well, anyway, but back to his accent.
Mm-hmm.
You eventually will, spoiler alert, you will acclimate. You will
Oh, yeah.
be drawn in.
For the most part.
There are swaths of this movie that I have not a fucking clue what he says.
Oh my god.
I have no
Still?
fucking idea. Yeah,
Same.
still.
There are like pivotal scenes where I'm like, oh, this is very important.
Yeah.
And I
what
wish we
happens-
had the subtitles on.
It's like he puts his jaw forward.
And then he goes, eh.
And he goes, yeah. And then all you need to know is he's like, oh, no, I gotta get the cocaine.
Okay.
Okay? Huh? You fucking cockroach.
Yeah. Oh my god, I put in a note how he says cockroach.
Cockroach.
The music.
So had you never heard that?
No, I
reference
remembered
before?
it. After I heard him say
People go,
cockroach, I was like,
"Fucking
oh,
cockroach."
yes.
You know what? Another thing that I heard is hey, take it easy.
Oh, see, I never had that one. That wasn't.
It's almost, I say it like Nacho Libre, but I shouldn't.
Sorry, did I just hit the mic?
Oh yeah, you're
Super
beating
loud.
it all around. But I say hey, take it easy,
Yeah, I like
Nacho
that.
Libre. But I think people saying that actually starts from I heard him say it in this movie, and I was
Yeah.
like, is that something that comes from this movie? I'm not sure.
So why? I know that he does have this scar on his face.
I was making fun of you. Like I kind of was thinking when I baited you with that, I was like, are you interested to see the scars on his face? I forgot
I
entirely
totally,
about that.
and I didn't even consider that before I'd seen the movie. Now having seen it, they do reference it once.
Once in the very beginning.
Why the fuck is it named Scarface?
I don't know.
That doesn't make
it's
sense.
such a barely noticeable scar, except for on his eyebrow.
It
just
makes
looks like
it
it's
like
cut.
looks like it's so easily a part of his face. I thought that was just Al Pacino's face.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know why it's called.
Scarface.
That's dumb as shit. But whatever. It's
Alright, anyway.
probably just badass sounding, and people were like, yeah. But they
Speaking
never
of
talk
badass
about it
sounding.
again.
The score.
Yes, the music. So I put in here that I got some heavy Twin Peaks music vibe.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's this score that plays anytime things get dramatic, and it's not an actual song because there are actual songs in this.
Yeah.
And I made a note of one that I thought was hilarious.
Yeah, I
so
know exactly
good.
which one you're talking about. We'll get to that.
Get to the limit.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
But anyway, so good and so dramatic and dark.
It's something about how it's just a synth, like two synths, one
Just
with like a
like,
bass.
It's
And
good.
it's so good. I
And
think
it
it's because
also
it's
causes mild panic.
I think it's because there's no frills to it. I think same thing with Twin Peaks. It's like there's not really any effect going on to it.
Yeah.
It's not. There's not a lot of like. There's no drums to it or anything.
Nope.
It's does exactly what a score should do. And I don't know. It feels so classic to me, and it even seems hyper stylistic now.
Now, especially
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
because there's movies like Drive and stuff that have made the soundtrack so
Those
important.
even push it almost to the limit, though. Those almost are too focused.
Because they seem so 80s and that style is kind of hot right now.
Yeah.
It's a really fun movie to watch just for the aesthetic because you're like, oh my God, that's really like,
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
Yeah.
It's fun.
But the score is, I have soundtrack, which I should have said score because the sound, like I would not buy Scarface the soundtrack.
No, it's not
But
worth that.
I love the score.
The score is good.
Yeah.
I still don't know if I would listen to it in the car. It would definitely create mild panic vibes. So he's being vetted by what I assume are border cops or just regular cops. They're asking him things like, have you ever been to jail? Have you ever been in a mental hospital?
Yeah, and then he gets really upset when they ask if he's ever had homosexual sex.
Are you gay?
Yeah.
I was like, is that a real question?
I don't know why that would be
Are you
relevant.
not allowed in America if you are?
I guess maybe this is the 80s. It's probably
There
AIDS.
seems like a lot of gay back then.
Yeah,
I mean,
probably it has something to do with AIDS.
I guess. Like, oh, are you bringing AIDS into our country?
Yeah.
I
Because if you were
guess.
gay, you were like more likely
I
to
wrote
have
that down because
AIDS.
I was like, this is very bizarre to be
Yeah, but
asking that.
They were asking, have you ever been arrested, blah, blah, and then he goes, have you ever participated in homosexual sex or something?
Yes.
He goes, hey, what's up with this fucking guy?
So Tony Montana is also...
Do your best Scarface impression.
Okay. Oh, you want to play rough?
Ooh. Oh, you want to play rough?
Okay.
Okay.
Shh, not too loud.
Sorry. I can't help it. You have to
Baby's
get loud.
sleeping right now, so we have to be quiet.
Sorry.
But so he Tony Montana is so proud, like he says over and over in the movie, that he is a political refugee. He's not a criminal in his opinion.
But he absolutely
Oh my
knows he
god.
is.
Like
Yeah.
so one of the fucking beginning scenes with the chainsaw.
Oh yeah, I have here Scarface meets Leatherface from
Oh
the
my God.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
This is within the first like 15-20 minutes of the movie.
Absolutely, and you see, he was affected by that, but it didn't. If I saw
He
my
was
friend,
when it was happening,
when-
but as soon
but
as it was
after
over,
that-
he was just like, all right, like next thing.
yeah,
And I mean, so before that, when they're in the refugee camp and they're like, okay, they're trying to get green cards, they're trying to get out and get into America so they can really make money and stuff.
Yeah.
And his friend, I guess that's where he meets his friend. Mm-hmm. And he's this good-looking Fez guy. What is his name? Because
Fez.
I never caught it.
I can't remember.
There's all these names
We'll
that
call
they
him Cuban James
say.
Franco.
Okay, we can call him that.
Or
'cause
Fez.
I
We'll call him Fez. It's
okay.
easier.
I refer to him a lot in my notes as just his friend, and I'm hoping that I remember that that's who it is.
Yeah.
But he comes up with this plan where they basically put a hit out on a guy who's also in the camp.
Yeah.
So I guess
That's
the
what
Fez
starts this whole
guy
thing.
is working for
He
someone
was
who's on the outside.
He was an ex. He was one of Stalin's head guys at first.
The guy they put the hit
guy
on.
they put the hit on. So
Okay.
it was like, so his motivations were kind of pure then.
So we're introduced to Tony Montana as a character. He seems like this really fun, young, ambitious guy who insists that he's not a criminal.
Starting from the bottom.
Yes.
As low as you possibly can start.
But he has no problem being like, okay, yeah, we'll take him out.
Well, because
He's a
is
criminal,
familiar with this.
for sure.
Yeah, he's familiar with this kind of lifestyle.
So they do that, and that basically kickstarts his life of crime.
Yeah, then
I
we
would
move
think.
on to the he starts working at a food truck,
Mm-hmm.
and then they meet up with the guy. He gets paid, and he's like, what, are you fucking kidding me? The guy tries to rip him off. And
Okay,
he's like-
see, I didn't understand a lot of what was happening then.
The guy was like trying to pay him less than what.
And because I remember I did hear when he said, "You think we move in cargo here, eh?"
Yeah.
I'm gonna do a lot of
We're
impressions.
gonna do a lot of this. I swear to God, I go back and forth. I'm like, oh. At first, I'm like, I can't handle this.
When he's on the bus going to the refugee camp, and it shows a close up of him and a couple of other people around him. He is the most American looking Cuban I've ever seen.
He looks hilarious. There's a scene of
He's
him in
American
the camp.
guy.
He's in the camp playing basketball, and he has on blue jeans, a Hawaiian shirt, and a headband keeping his hair up.
I said in
he
here-
looks hilarious.
I said I'm gonna start rocking a bandana because it looks kind of Rocky-ish but not tough.
Rocky Balboa-ish.
Right.
Yeah.
What-
Which is another movie you haven't seen.
I haven't seen that.
But you
I
referenced
know the
it.
reference because my stepdad totally dresses like him.
Yep. See? This is the podcast, people.
You get it, eh?
You get it.
I said I like his little Cuban friend. Think he's gay. Predict he will die.
Okay. Well, you liked. I love that guy through the whole movie.
Yeah,
I love
he's
that
definitely
character.
I mean, he does all the crime that Tony does, but he is the kind of backbone of good, I guess.
But
he's
he's so
a light.
straight that he was
doesn't-
distracted by that girl and didn't go in to save the dude from being cut up with the chainsaw.
That's the same guy? Oh.
Yeah, he was in the car waiting outside.
Okay. I totally missed that was the same guy.
It was like he had like 4.
No, I knew he had like 4 people.
Yeah.
There's a lot of times in this movie where it's like the next chapter and I missed, I was like, since when does he have people working for him? There's like parts where it doesn't really explain that this happened and suddenly he's like the enemy of his boss. And I'm like, what? Okay. I obviously missed some stuff.
Well,
So
I think they do a good job. Yeah, they don't show
They don't show
bit of
everything.
the hiring process.
And I mean, they do a good job
I don't think
of
it would
like.
be a good movie if they did.
You're right. I mean, I know, but like there's a progression that maybe I'm too retardo to catch on to. So if you, I mean, and maybe that's just the language, barrier. So put on your subtitles if you don't want to miss a thing.
If
I missed
we
a
had
lot.
the option for subtitles, I should have done that. But
It's okay. I mean,
because of the
honestly, I
copy
would
of
have
the
just
movie
read it
we
the whole time, and I
watched.
wouldn't have been watching the pretty scenes.
I don't think it's not. It's if you do try to watch this movie, you're like, okay, this is one I got to knock off my list. Stick with it. If you are uninterested after 30 minutes,
You won't be.
you won't, which is impossible, I think.
Because that chainsaw scene.
It's fucking grip, even by today's standards. This movie was made in 1983.
So in this scene, he has like he's going to get. Oh, but before that, when they're talking to that guy outside of his food truck, the guy who's trying to rip him off, and he's like, "Well, he said, something about cocaine," and I wrote it in all caps because I was like, "That." I said Tony's eyes, and then roll your Curb Your Enthusiasm credits.
Yeah, that would have been good. Yeah,
That
you know
is
anything
like-
about cocaine? And he's just like,
Because he gets immediately so interested.
Totally.
And it's like that
the
is
rest is-
what started it, everything,
Totally.
and it's insane.
But yeah. So that's great.
And then I wrote, so he was doing hits and now drugs. Weird de-escalation. Like usually you do drugs first and then you move up to like assassinations.
Yeah, you're kind of right.
He was like, no problem doing hits, and then he's like, no, you know what? I want
Yeah.
a different kind of life of crime.
That's true. Yeah, he starts
gets
off as a
paid more.
political assassin.
He gets paid more for doing coke, moving coke.
Well, there's just more opportunity. I
Yeah,
think.
that makes sense. But it's just funny because that's not usually how criminals.
Yeah. It would be like, hey, steal this car, then sell drugs, then become a political assassin.
Yeah, that's
that
your
would be the
basic
normal-
progression of
You're
like
right.
crime life.
But considering where he comes from in their communist world, over
That's
there
a
in
normal
Cuba,
part of life.
That's
Cuba.
how shit
Oh,
works, man.
Cuba.
Anyway, so another note I have here is the progression of suits is one of the best parts of this movie.
In the beginning, I'm like, I can't tell if he is fashionable or not, or if he's supposed to look poor. Because
By the way, he's not. Even when he is at his peak, he has the worst style.
okay, but in that time,
Nope.
is it supposed to be good?
No way. No way is an entirely red interior of a mansion ever good.
And it's like velvet.
With an entire, it's all black and gold. He has Donald
it's very
Trump's.
Versace-ish.
It's Donald Trump.
Yeah, I
his
mean, I
style
get
is
if
the
he
same as
likes
Donald Trump.
Versace. He has
It's
like
like-
mahogany everything.
There's no like
Big gold
blend
doors.
of colors. Everything is one color.
He has a neon thing inside his house that says
The world is
"The
yours.
world is yours," which I've made a note for
fucking
later.
Love that.
I definitely want to talk about that later, but
When he's looking up at that blimp and it says "The world is yours," and it's playing the synth. I mean, it's great. It's so good.
you root for Tony the whole time, even though he's doing some really shady shit.
Well, I kind of wrote down. I have here. Tony is not. Obviously, this is he's not the hero. He's not a good guy.
He's an anti-hero?
He's the villain. I don't even think he's.
Who's the
anything.
hero? His friend?
No, the hero of the movie is Mama.
She's the correct one,
She,
but she
is
is made to look
the
crazy
hero.
in it.
No, she's not.
I mean, you're not. You know,
She
she's
is
not crazy because you're like, yeah, she's
100%
right.
in the right.
But she, towards the end, when like Gina is starting to get into this lifestyle,
Gina, the sister.
and Tony goes over there to talk to her, and he's like, I'm gonna go find her or whatever. And she's like, you always do this. This is your fault. And I'm like, she's blaming him for stuff that is totally Gina's ideas.
Yeah,
I mean, she's kind of crazy.
but before Tony shows up, Gina is. She went to school. She's doing people's hair. I think
I don't
she says.
think that that's a Tony thing. I think that's a money thing.
Maybe she's 20 years old, which. Okay, she's 20 years old.
Or do
Okay.
you think she looks older?
Yes. You kidding me?
You mean you think she's an athletic model? She's gorgeous.
Her hair.
Sometimes
is
she's weird
hilarious.
looking, but mostly
Yeah.
she's gorgeous.
Also, they don't look related. Also, her accent fucking sucked.
She's clearly American.
That shit popped into Italian, I think, sometimes.
Well, with a name like Gina.
Yeah.
So, but let's go to the scene because I said floral Hawaiians. It's a look. First job, Al Pacino's first job that he gets besides the hit. So he's trying to move coke, and it's a setup,
Yeah.
kind of. I mean, the boss didn't know.
No. Yeah. The guys
But
who
they
were
turn
there
on him.
to sell the cocaine
turn
just
on him.
wanted to get the money. Yeah.
Right. They're like, no. And when I saw that bitch laying on the bed, I knew you couldn't trust her.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I said I knew you couldn't trust Martha. She pulls out this huge gun, just like from under her tiny, skinny, junky body.
It's a submachine gun, but it has a gigantic silencer on it. That's why it looks so big.
It looks crime level.
So they're so worried about noise, yet the weapon of choice that they use in this like populated area is a fucking chainsaw.
I said, where are the police?
They turn the volume up on the TV, which you're supposed to be like, oh,
that takes care of
that
it.
drowns out the.
They're just watching Freddy vs. Jason.
Yeah, they're watching.
I mean, if I heard my neighbor in my apartment building have a chainsaw inside,
yeah, exactly,
I would be suspicious. I would at least knock on the door. Maybe
no, I don't
maybe
know
I
if
wouldn't. I don't know, but I would be very suspicious. And then if I heard a scream, I would call the cops.
Yeah.
But whatever. This is Miami in the 80s, and the cops can't be trusted.
Right.
I guess. So Tony is tough. He is talking shit when he definitely shouldn't.
After watching his friend be chopped apart,
God.
getting the blood literally on his face.
I mean, you can see in his face that he's affected by it. But he's still talking shit to them. He still won't relent and give them the money.
Keeps rolling.
It's insane. He's
He just
clearly
keeps rolling.
against
He accepts for a moment. All right, this is how I go.
First
Well, he's on
sidebar:
that.
it is insane that he decides to go into the drug business after this happens.
He decides to continue.
He's like, "Oh,
That's
this
the
is
whole
my
point.
life."
This isn't shocking to him. He comes
What
from
happened
a
in
fucked up,
Cuba?
Him agreeing to stab a man.
First off, yeah,
Is-
but I guess he
No problem.
was in the army
He
in a
sees this
communist
as
nation.
He sees this as a job opportunity. Like he has no moral conflict about killing someone.
Well, he does, because later he doesn't
Later
kill.
on. Well, let's move on a little bit from the chainsaw scene. We're still very much in the
I'm
beginning.
sorry, it's just one of the biggest ones. So
Yeah.
then he wants to meet the head honcho.
The head honcho.
Well, the boss, Lopez.
Well, he takes the cocaine and the money back because he ends up coming. By the way, at the end of that scene, he doesn't give a fuck.
No, he just leaves.
He runs downstairs
In front of this is a populated area with all
everybody.
the old people.
Shoots this motherfucker square in
In
the
the
head.
street.
In the street and drives away.
Gets in his car, which we're gonna have to talk about his car next, because what in the fuck?
You talking about that cheetah print
Fuck,
Cadillac?
what the hell? So he gets in his car and he fucking swings it around, and his injured friends who finally were like, he's taking a long time, let's go up there.
Yeah.
They were injured during this conflict. They get in the car and they fucking speed off.
Yeah. That just the way he kills that guy in the street is so you're like, no way is he gonna just kill
People
this guy
are
right here. So
screaming.
many people outside.
It's
and
like
just watch
the
him.
middle. It's like
And
2 o'clock
he
in the
gets
afternoon,
away.
and he just leaves.
He gets away.
I mean,
What the fuck?
if murder is that easy.
Anyway,
So these men in their disco collars and plunging necklines.
I have the bare chest gold necklace look is very appealing to me.
Ew.
I think I could rock it.
Oh my god. And then the boss guy's house reminds me of The Office in Die Hard.
Okay.
Remember his wife's office?
Yeah, it was like
Also very 80s.
Isn't it? It's like there's 3 colors that exist in
And
these
they're all
people's
like
interior decorations.
glass chairs and
Yeah.
tile floors.
But it's
and
all white, red, and black.
Yeah.
And gold.
and
There's
gold.
4 colors.
Those are like the boss colors. Boss.
But they take such intense choices with their interior design. It's like we're gonna have all white everything, and then we're gonna put a bold as fuck solid red carpet, circular
Ugh,
carpet,
and
in
it's
the middle.
not like a nice red. It's like blood.
Yeah.
It's like you think of blood when
Yeah.
you see it.
The furniture is ridiculous.
It's important. And but I did say I'm really into this like big crime immigrant culture. It's bad for America, but it is hot.
It's hot. Yeah.
Michelle Pfeiffer.
Okay.
Wow.
I did not know if that was her. I struggled
is
back
her.
and forth.
Yep.
Holy shit.
Yowza. What a bombshell.
Dude.
She's gorgeous in this movie.
How come nobody talks about the fact that she's in this movie?
I never hear about it. I'm like, oh, she's
Yeah.
Catwoman, but I don't hear about this.
Yeah. She's great in it also.
She is great. Her attitude is hashtag aesthetic for I think all of the generation that is currently like, very like, what is it? Ambivalent, I guess.
She's so just over it.
She's not
She
shocked by things.
hashtag can't even.
She's definitely over it. She's like very like, Man, try to please me. I'm hot as shit. You know.
She is.
She
by the
is
way.
hot as shit. She's
She
a little
can
skinny,
pull it off.
but she's better than I said. Better than Uma Thurman as Mia Wallace.
Totally.
And not even comparing, but better than Uma Thurman in Pulp Fiction. Better than Uma Thurman in anything, I guess.
Whoa.
I guess. I mean, as far as looks go. Although I didn't see The
Okay.
Stepmother. Isn't that an Uma Thurman movie?
The Stepmother.
Yeah, remember? Or a super mom or something. She's like a superhero,
I have
and
no
she's
idea
a
what you're talking
mom,
about.
her stepmom.
Nope. Don't know.
Well, that didn't infiltrate culture very much, I guess.
Okay. Yes.
You know what I'm talking about? There's like a scene where she like
Holy
lands
shit.
in the middle of the city.
That movie totally. No, she throws a shark at somebody.
Is it Will Smith?
No, that's Hancock.
Okay. Who's that?
Anyway,
opposite?
I don't. We'll have to look at it. That's a conversation. That movie is dead and buried. Why are you
Let's
digging
not
it
bring
up?
it up.
Yeah.
I said Lulz at 80s club attire because it's clearly a disco
Yeah.
and nobody's wearing anything slutty.
Yeah. And the dancing is hilarious.
The dancing is funny, especially by Michelle Pfeiffer.
No, especially by Al Pacino.
Yeah, but hers is hilarious. She's like, well, you can't see what I'm doing, but she is like gyrating her shoulders like
So
back
much
and
arms.
forth. And she's
So much
snapping
arms.
in the air.
Yeah.
Back and forth, which is how I dance like
Yeah.
at prom, but you know,
And they're having
I'm terrible.
a great conversation.
Well, she's being very racist to him.
She's being very, very superior to him.
Yeah, she's like, I'm an American, like, white girl. I'm better than, you know, all these Cubans that have come over.
Yeah, you immigrant motherfucker.
It seems like there was definitely a lot of racism against Cubans. Racism
yeah,
against
but
Cubans at the
racism
time.
that they could handle. Like, it was like, so?
Well, I mean, they just stuck up for themselves. And he did that. He was like, no, I'm not like...
Yeah. He was
What
like,
you
I'm
think
not
I
affected.
am.
And then even more so, he takes that bitch, essentially. He's like...
Oh, yeah. He's like
no,
later when he's driving home.
I'm going to marry you.
Yeah.
And he does.
But later, I put in this right before right after he marries her. I'm like, did she even want any of this?
Yeah, that's
she
the thing.
never consents, really.
She's just like...
She's along for the ride.
Just doing coke. And
Because
it's just,
she is the woman of his boss, his first boss.
yeah, she's the... Are they married?
They're not married, but they're
Okay.
together.
Yeah, okay.
But he wants her, and she
So.
thinks he ain't shit yet, at least.
All right, so...
It looks like this boss dude is taking Tony under his wing. There's that infamous line, or at least I feel like it's famous or infamous. It says, "Don't get high on your own supply."
I also have that written down. Is that where this originates?
I thought. I also think when she
I
says
think it could
later,
be.
"I'm not your baby," I'm like, that's got to be where that came from too.
I don't know what that...
That's
I've
like a
never heard that
huge. I've
before.
seen that on shirts. That's like at Forever
What?
21. It's like, "I'm not your baby."
No.
Yeah, and it's kind of like it's writing the same thing of like, "Don't call me." You know, it's like that movement of like, "Don't tell me to smile," kind of thing.
I don't think that they're related.
It's
but
a pretty
it could
cool
be.
line when she says it. She's like, "Don't call me that. I'm not your baby."
It's
and I'm
okay.
like, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's true. He's being super forceful.
He is being a little like when he tries to...
He tries to kiss her.
Just pounces on her in that fucking Cadillac.
And she pushes
Hilarious.
him off and she says that, like, something along the lines
She's
of...
just like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, she doesn't
She's not scared.
scream rape
Nope.
and run around.
She's
It's
not scared.
crazy.
She's just like, okay, now take me to my boyfriend.
And then, by the way, I think Al Pacino picking up that hat and putting it on, I think that was improvised.
Really?
Their reactions are too good.
She's giggling.
Yeah, she's
That's
actually
the only
laughing.
time that you see any affection from her to
That's
him.
a thing how many smiles? How many times
Just
does...
that.
He never smiles. He, no matter how many times
Neither
he
does
wins.
she.
No. So, which is the overall theme of this movie, which is so good.
How when
it's
you get
just
rich,
about greed.
you are unhappy as
Yeah,
fuck.
you
I mean,
are-
and you see it later when he's got all his money and he's like almost pretty much as rich as that like Bolivian drug lord that he's getting his drugs from.
Yeah.
He's almost just as rich. He's in America, which seems like it would be better than Bolivia. And he's just so unhappy and he's pushing everyone away from him and everyone's kind of
he's-
looking at him like, ugh.
Yeah, he is very much still. He's just a slave to
And
greed.
things get really bad after that.
That's what I'm saying. Mama
Is
has. She's the hero. She's the role model of this movie.
She's only appears twice in this movie.
She lives in this piece of shit house, but she is. I guarantee you, Mama and Gina had a happy life beforehand. They
Yeah.
had something they wanted to continue to have.
Yeah. You're probably right.
And she's not a slave to greed. She throws that $1,000 back into a Al Pacino's face.
I
that he
have
tries to
here
offer
like
him.
his mom, sister. He has something to lose because before that, he doesn't seem like he has anything to lose. He's like all in. He's like, I'm gonna go to the top or whatever. But then once you see him visit his mom and sister, you're like, oh, he has a family. Like it's not really alluded to before that.
Right.
So he goes to visit them. He tries to give them money. He's clearly trying to impress his mom, get respect from her, and she's like, no, I know what you're doing.
Because she's not impressed with that bullshit.
Yeah, she's like, I see what you're doing. You can't buy me with money or whatever.
Yes.
And,
Go, mama. I want shirts to be made with mama.
Mama Montana.
Okay, mama.
Mama Montana.
Mama Montana. Dude,
He's
she's
definitely
the
trying to
hero.
please her, but she don't take no shit. He is so protective of Gina.
Creepy.
And I said here, very protective of Gina. I predict she dies.
Yeah. Well, good call. Spoiler alert.
I mean, this whole thing is a spoiler.
Yeah, but that I have here Sister Synth as part of the score.
And later,
Every time it shows him freaking out about Gina, it plays this horrible synth and it slowly zooms in on her and then his face,
And then his
then
eyes. Yeah.
And it is hilarious. It's the same. The Sister Synth is.
it's
It
very
almost made me
creepy.
laugh every time.
That
But it is weird.
It is so weird. It's like,
very off-putting.
yes, like I think it's very natural for brothers to be protective over sisters, particularly little sisters.
But to this level.
But I think also in other cultures than American, it's stronger. Like I see it a lot in Italian families, Latino families. I guess I should be saying Hispanic. Is that better? I don't know.
Fuck it. Don't ask me.
Whichever way is more politically correct. Just know that that's what I mean.
Yeah,
Anyway,
I'm gonna be banned off social media any second now. So
big
don't ask me.
Ryan, big famous Ryan Wallace is gonna be banned.
Once this podcast takes off the ground, oh boy.
It's all over.
Yeah. Here comes the hate
Anyway,
mail.
that's what I mean, you guys. I'm not trying to be offensive. And anyway, but I see that they're a little bit more family centric, protective in those cultures. But yeah, it is still way too much.
But it's good because his. It's
his downfall.
It's such a obvious like driving force of his character. He can't help it. You know what I mean? And it's such an interesting and it comes
ruins
out of
his
nowhere
life.
almost.
Yeah.
Like Gina comes out of nowhere and then all of a sudden his huge protective issue that makes him do crazy shit.
Only
comes out of
too,
nowhere.
like particularly whenever she's like around another man.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm sorry, but she's in her 20s.
Right.
I mean, do you think she's never gonna marry? Like, what do you think is gonna happen?
That's when it. So let's fast forward a little bit because
We're taking a
still
long
very
time.
much in the very beginning of.
Well, okay,
or
but
in the
next I
middle.
have, let's talk about, he meets the coke grower. The guy who grows and manufactures this cocaine.
Yeah, he really ups his game.
So the boss is trusting him. He goes across to the other country. I think it's Bolivia, with that Omar guy, who is kind of like the middleman between him and the boss.
Who's the guy who originally got him all started?
Right.
That's what I'm saying. Like that's what the parallels between the communist dictatorship is inevitable. It's how it always works. The nature of the beast is someone else comes in, kills you, and takes your place.
Yeah, right.
And that's the cycle of Tony Montana.
Yeah, it's pretty intense.
Yeah. Anyway, so he meets the guy in Bolivia or Colombia or whatever, and
He's coming in hot with his deal.
They hang the guy from the helicopter.
So Omar has a problem with how Tony is talking to this guy. He's like, you don't have fucking authority. Like, you're not the boss. Get the fuck down, you know?
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah, get the fuck down.
he
says.
grower, what is his name? I think it's Sosa.
I can't remember. Yes, I think
Sosa.
you're right.
So
Yeah.
I want
Yeah,
to
he says,
have
"I'll eat
names
that
for
Sosa
these
for
guys because I
breakfast."
talk to them later. Yeah. So Sosa tells Tony that this guy is a rat for the cops and fucking takes him up in a helicopter and hangs
his ass.
him.
Again, Tony is unfazed
He
while
just
he's staring
watches
at it through
and I'm like,
binoculars.
he's fucked up, but he doesn't seem fucked up. It is his normal. He's fine.
Right.
Like,
So
so
he comes
weird.
back with
a
this-
sociopath.
Yeah, so he basically gets a promotion.
Pretty
and he
much.
comes back and he has this huge ambitious deal
First-
that his boss is like,
Sosa says, "Don't fuck me, Tony."
yep.
And I'm like, that's intense foreshadowing. I put that down even before I knew that it would be.
That's the other thing too. He is kind of respectable because I do trust him. Tony Montana won't fuck you.
Well, he does.
Does he though? Like
Yeah, by not killing that guy and his family, it fucked Sosa. But we'll talk about that as we get to it.
But because of that's what I'm saying. He kind of does have this like. That's what makes him a good character. I think.
What
because
I wrote-
you can relate to him in some things.
what I wrote down last night
He's
after I
not a
stewed,
dishonest person.
he's super honest, which is a really great quality in a character that you're gonna watch for the whole 2.5 hours. But what I wrote down after I stewed on the movie a bit is that it's interesting that Tony's morality, refusing to kill the mother and the children, rather than his...
You're totally skipping ahead.
Okay, fine. I'll wait. I'll wait to say this.
I mean,
We're talking about Sosa.
You have to talk about that scene, though.
All right, well...
No one knows how he's trying to kill him.
So he comes back and there's tension with his boss.
Okay, here. Let me get this back on track a little
Okay.
bit. So, after he gets this promotion, he essentially has a montage with the "Push It to the Limit" song playing.
Wait. But I have some stuff before that. Basically, it looks like Tony's not working with Frank anymore. Frank Lopez, his boss.
No, he is.
So he comes back and there's that scene where Lopez is pissed that he's like made this huge deal that costs a lot of money. And then I heard Tony say, well, if he doesn't come up with the money, that he'll go and push the drugs himself.
Uh-huh.
But then it seems like, because then in the next scene, he goes to Michelle Pfeiffer by the pool and she's like, I heard you're not working with Frank anymore. And he said, that's right.
He essentially is
doing his own
He has
thing.
this more ambitious thing that he's trying to do.
Is Frank still his boss at this point? That's what I was confused on. I'm
You
not
know,
sure.
I think he overall is. I think he's still working for Frank, but he's kind of taking...
He sees himself as an equal.
Yeah, he's kind of taking more of the reins than he should.
Then he
what the power struggle is
proposes
coming
to
from.
Michelle Pfeiffer.
Yeah.
It just seems kind of crazy to propose to someone that clearly dislikes you.
Yeah.
I mean, she doesn't show any affection to him, besides the time she laughed in the car.
Yeah, but she also
She doesn't show affection to anyone.
She's an object to him, something for him to conquer.
Oh, it's like a trophy. He's like,
Yeah,
once
that's
I
all
get
it is.
this, it's like I've achieved this.
Well, yeah, the way he views the world is once I get the car, once I get the boat. He
The
even
house.
says that.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, once I get the house.
So he's becoming pretty cocky. He pays a cop to basically work for him, in a sense.
Well, he doesn't have a choice. He's being extorted.
He is.
But there's a
the
perk
cop,
to the
the
extortion.
cop is like, we're going to take down your enemies for you. We'll like expose them.
What about the montage? When does that happen?
It happens after. Because
Okay.
before he slaps his sister in the bathroom after he finds her with a
Discoing
guy.
with that man.
I said he's an actual sad human being because there's that scene where that guy's dressed up as like it's the comedy scene. There's like a stand-up comedian.
What the? Okay.
I don't
hold
know.
On.
I don't know. Is it
Hold on.
racist?
What the fuck is going on?
So he's
Is
a
it-
stand-up
no,
comedian.
it's at the club, right? Where they were at the
It's a
disco,
different
first
room.
of all.
Yep.
Yeah, okay. So it's at the club, and then they bring out a stand-up comedian.
So he like slapped his sister, got into a big fight, and he's pissed off.
He's all upset.
So he goes to a different room and he's sitting alone, and he's watching this comedian. This is kind of the vibe
In this comedian is killing it, by the way.
with the white people, but he starts making jokes about Cubans, and you can see these two Cubans in the crowd get like visibly pissed, or at least they're not laughing. They're like,
You mean the two assassins?
well, you don't know that yet. So you just see these two, and when it showed their guns, I thought that they were going to assassinate the comedian.
Oh my god, no! That's the whole reason they were there.
I
You think
said-
they were so offended by the Cuban jokes?
I said, when did he get big enough to have enemies? Like
Okay.
suddenly he's big enough to have enemies.
Because he was going against Frank.
So that's what I put. Also, is he trying to kill him? Frank
Yes,
is trying
Frank
to
is
kill him.
trying to kill him.
And that's why the whole phone call thing. He was like,
That's something I have written down. I don't understand what. Hold on, what is that guy?
so like
Coming out on the thing, not the stand-up comedian.
right. There's
What
a stand-up
is that?
comedian, and then he, I guess, stops and they show this guy comes out, and it's like a mascot uniform.
What is
And
it?
I thought maybe this is like he's making fun of Jews because he has this big nose and it looks like those political cartoons against Jewish people. But it's not super like that. So it's very, because he's like a short guy.
He's like an egg-shaped man.
It's bizarre. And I'm like,
it
what?
is killing. It
People
is
are
the
loving it.
funniest bit these people have ever fucking seen.
But it's a very dramatic scene for us. You know, the music starts in and it keeps
But
showing Tony,
does-
and then it shows these two other Cuban guys who are clearly going to kill him. And then it shows Tony, and then it shows the mascot guy, and it's like,
Yeah, it's funny. They also wait until the mascot guy
gets in front of him. That's why I was like, are they trying to kill the comedian?
Right. They were like, I think what it was is they were sitting there. They were like, all right, this guy fucking sucks. Let's take him out while we take out Tony.
Yeah.
Maybe
I
they
guess
were like
so.
two
They're
birds, one
two
stone.
birds, one stone. Why waste the bullets?
Yeah.
So
Which
then
ends
they
up,
go
he
cray.
hides under the fat guy and
Yeah.
and he wins.
It's
He comes out on
necessary.
top.
So
this
they try to kill him. He's
assassination
freaking
attempt.
out. His Fez friend takes Gina home, and you see then that they like each other. which is important. And then Tony,
Talking to the mic, please.
Please explain. Please have Ryan explain the scene with the 3 a.m. phone call.
I have exactly the same note.
Basically, from what I gathered, he tells his friends to call Frank at 3 a.m. This is all the same night.
And he's going to, based off of this, from what I understand, is based off of Frank's reaction, he's going to be able to tell if Frank sent those guys or not. Mm-hmm. That's what I gather. I don't know how he achieves that. Because he tells them to say, like, he got away. Fucked up and they got away.
Yeah, we missed him.
Whatever.
Frank doesn't really react to the phone call.
Yeah. I don't really understand that scene.
And suddenly, Scarface comes out on top.
So he kills Frank.
Then
do we get to the montage?
Yes. Then there's the montage of him getting it big.
With the most parodied montage song of all time, which is a reference that I didn't know comes from this movie.
Me neither. But now when you see movies where they're like, when you see movies where they're like, the girl is shopping and getting hot with her, you know, and like, that's what it's making fun of.
It's been parodied so many times that it's hard for me to take it seriously when it happens in this movie.
It is hard. It is so out of character for the rest of the theme of this movie.
Yeah,
because it's positive, and then he's getting all this money. He's opening up all these businesses to front his and clean his money through.
Yeah,
like he has a realty company and like just all these different things. And right, they're trying to just show that like months and months and months are going by, and he's basically is the top drug pin king, whatever.
Drug pin king.
The kingpin.
The kingpins, yeah. So, and then the montage is over, and we get Tony has everything he could ever want.
Oh,
right?
And so he gets married to Michelle Pfeiffer. And they show that because he was talking about he wanted to get a tiger. Or he mentioned it at least. He has a fucking tiger, and it's leashed up, and I'm like, that's a metaphor.
Totally.
So I wrote down metaphor, and I don't know what is a metaphor for.
It's for Tony. Tony is the tiger.
Tony, or is it Michelle?
Tony is he keeps calling Michelle the tiger. You're right.
He keeps her leashed. You know, she has no life.
I don't feel like I think it's maybe a reference to both of them.
I guess so, in different ways.
If you think about it, Tony is very much like a tiger. He is aggressive.
Yes.
He has balls, as he would say. And the only thing that matters is balls, as he would say. Yeah. He is like a tiger who's leashed, but the thing that's leashing him is his own greed.
Yes, but he doesn't see it that way. Yeah. You know, and he never does.
He would have limitless potential almost if it wasn't for his greed. He succumbs to greed.
Yeah. Like the IMDb explanation.
Right. He really does.
He gets married, and it seems immediately like there's marital trouble. Like,
the problem is,
happy.
I know. Yeah. Go figure. That relationship
doesn't seem to last, you guys. You know? Maybe get to know the person before you marry them.
Yeah.
He's getting very paranoid. He's spending a lot of money on security. Because he's fucking people over, probably.
He says, we're not hungry anymore. We're getting sloppy, and we're not hungry anymore.
Yeah.
He's right.
He's totally right.
Yeah. He's starting to lose it. He's starting to get high on his own supply.
Well, and he gets busted for money laundering by that guy who was helping him count the money.
Yeah.
That scene didn't seem to come out of nowhere, but I guess they just had to have this. Like,
it was some sting operation. Yeah, they kind of had to, because
it's not relevant to the story at all.
It is, though, because that is he's in trouble. Now there's
pressure.
Now there's pressure.
Yeah.
He can't go back. He won't go back to the fucking cage.
And it just shows too that like he was trusting all these people that turned out to double cross him.
Sloppy.
Right. So he was getting sloppy, and he's getting more paranoid because all these people are actually not who he thinks they are.
Right.
So yeah,
But so that kicks everything off. So now he's worried about it, and he talks to Sosa. And Sosa also was like, we have this issue.
Yes.
And we think that we can help each other out.
Yes.
You be a political assassin for me again and kill this guy in front of the UN, and that will help us.
And we'll take care of your legal
our
troubles.
friends in Washington can make sure that you don't do any time.
Even though he was just looking at 3 years and maybe even less.
Yeah.
But, whatever.
But I think before this, there's another classic scene to me.
The restaurant scene.
God, I love that scene.
Okay, so Michelle looks terrible. Like, clearly a junkie.
Yeah.
She's doing so much cocaine. She's not eating. She looks tired. She's skinny.
She never wears a bra.
No, absolutely not. But why would you when you have negative A cups?
Perfect tits. Yeah.
They fit in everything.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So it looks like he's kind of realizing that maybe riches aren't everything. His friendship with Fez is like not great, and his marriage is shit. Mm-hmm. It just looks, and he's like so defensive about himself. Like when he freaks out on the customers, the other patrons of the restaurant, and he's like, "Yeah, take a good look," you know. Take a good. This is what you see. This is for you.
I'm the bad guy.
Yeah, I'm
you
the
need
bad.
someone
You
to
need
point
this.
a finger on and say, "I'm the bad guy." I have here. I have a lot of notes where just the way he chooses to use his accent is he just says like instead of man, he says may.
May all the time.
He just cuts the end off of words. Like he has what is the word?
I'm the bad guy, yeah.
I'm bad. Yeah, bad. I'm the bad guy.
The bad guy.
Bad guy. I just thought it was really funny.
It's cute.
I can't find one of the words he said.
Although he's looking worse too as the movie progresses. He gets more like tired looking, and like in the beginning he looks fresh faced, or at least to me, and it's pretty subtle because I didn't realize it at first.
Yeah, he says name. He's like, nay? What you think my name?
Oh yeah.
He just
what you
cuts
think?
The end of. Yeah,
he doesn't even say what do you think.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. And then there's this really nice restaurant, all these other rich people. It's a really interesting picture of what it looks like when you get wealth in an immoral way.
Right.
It's cool. I like the juxtaposition a lot.
I've kind of been neglecting my notes a little bit, and I do have some things in here that just real quick I kind of want to discuss before, because we're gaining on the end of the movie now. That dance scene in the disco is one of the bitchiest dances I've ever seen. Dance scene. Yeah, where they're at the disco and they're talking. Hold on, I have to. Toki,
go lay down.
Go lay down. Fucking.
It's a circus in here.
That is the bitchy. She's the bitchiest dancer. Like, why does she want to dance? The first time she's like,
oh yeah, she like asks him, and then she's just like, I don't like you.
Like, oh, fuck this. I
mean,
bitchiest
obviously,
dancing ever.
That's why he was like, I'm gonna fuck this bitch. You know, he's like, she showed interest in her way.
Yeah. Then she says, like, even if it was at the on a desert island, I wouldn't fuck you. I needed.
Cut to the exact next scene.
To him saying, she liked me.
Yeah, and Fez is like,
exactly
oh yeah,
too.
this is the boss girl. Or,
yeah.
You know, he's very like, I wouldn't. The good thing about Fez is that yes, he's living this life of crime, but he's still doing it the right way. Like he has these rules. He's like, I'm not gonna sleep with my friend's sister. I'm not going to try to get the boss's lady.
Mm-hmm.
You know, all these rules, and then
even though
he does break the one.
He fucks up.
So you can kind of see at the wedding with when he marries Michelle Pfeiffer, when Tony does, you can see that there's stuff happening between Gina and Fez.
Yeah.
Like they're looking at each other. They're clearly in love.
They love each other. They like
it's real love.
Gina's not a trophy.
No. And Fez takes it so slow. I mean, it's not about him, so we don't know his journey really, but it looks like he takes it super slow, and he's not like he's afraid because he knows how Tony is. I mean, yeah. So yeah, next let's get back to he's trying to work with Sosa. He's going to assassinate this guy. There's this whole plan. And Sosa gives him his guy to help Tony assassinate the this guy on TV who's like bad naming Sosa or whatever.
Yeah,
who
he's blowing the lid off the whole operation.
Right. And he's in America, so Tony goes up to New York to do this. He has the like friend of Sosa's with him, and they're like tailing the car, and then Tony has this crisis, this morality crisis. Because
children have entered the car,
and they weren't going to be initially. Right. So like this is a new development. He's like, no, I'm not gonna. He's like, this is bad, eh? This is real bad. It's real bad. And he's like, not gonna do it.
The guy said he doesn't speak any English, so I was
but
like,
I guess understands.
But he was
English?
Responding to
in
Tony.
the other language, which I guess is Colombian.
Yeah, I thought that was odd. Maybe he was just telling
Portuguese,
him to be quiet.
He was because it was that part subtitle. You can see him. He's like, shut up, you know.
So he builds up, and eventually he's like, fuck this.
And he shoots the guy in the face in the car.
In the car, yeah.
And the guy he's supposed to assassinate gets away and lives his life normally. But he beefs up his security because he finds the bomb. And so now there's no more opportunity to assassinate him, and Sosa is pissed.
Yep.
And he says on the phone, you fucked me.
You fucked me.
And I'm
you
like,
little monkey,
boom,
you
there it
me.
is. Yep.
Yeah.
And he's pissed.
God, when he gets pissed and he's like, what you fucking say to me? And he cannot hold on to that speaker. Mm-hmm. He slaps that speaker around so much. It's really funny. Because he's
crazy and he's so high on coke.
Yeah. Oh my God.
He's doing coke
so
this
coke.
whole night. And this is like the epic night. This is like the rest of the movie happens in this night.
Yeah.
So
he's cutting lines with his hand.
Oh my, and it's so, I said,
he's karate chopping lines of cocaine.
Wait, let me find it. I said Scarface featuring the world's biggest line of coke. Mm-hmm. Like ever imagine. And then there's the scene with the coke mountain, as I call it. It's just this huge pile of coke. I thought when I thought about that scene before I'd seen the movie, I thought it was way more coke than it was, but it still is millions of dollars.
You know, I always think that there's a scene where he slams his head
I
into
thought so
the
too.
pile.
What is that movie? Where is that?
I think it's parodied, but he
Okay.
doesn't actually
No,
do
he
that.
just does a line.
He just kind of
He does crazy lines.
He just puts his nose into the
And there is
pile.
a lot of coke on his nose.
Yeah, but it's not nearly like you think or how it's been talked about.
So
I also one other thing on my notes.
yeah,
That tongue thing
in the
that
beginning,
Fez does at the beach.
Oh my god, ew.
There's a big difference also. That's good. It's not necessarily the worst advice coming from this hunky guy.
It
that
depends
girls
on who's
are
doing
into.
it. Yeah,
If Al Pacino did that tongue thing,
I'd be like, oh, a rapist.
there's no way it would ever work.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry. I had
That
to
was
get
way
that
in the
point.
beginning.
I know. I had to get that point out.
So he gets this panicked call from his mom. Gina's missing,
Yep.
and she
Spiraling.
has an address
You
for
get a
Gina.
really serious sense of the spiraling.
Everything's happening really fast.
Yeah.
And she has an address for Gina. She moved out, and it's a really ritzy part of town. Flags are up. We
He's like, "What the
know
fuck?"
that she's in love with his friend, right, Fez?
He gets the address. He goes to the place. He's pissed.
I mean, he
goes-
sees red.
He goes to the place, and who opens the door?
His cute friend.
Fez.
And then he sees Gina come out with a robe, and he
And then
immediately
what?
just murders his
The sister
friend.
synth plays.
Oh my god, it's so
And
bad.
bam,
And I'm like, he
without
killed his
thinking.
only friend, his only ally. This is the only guy
From
who
the
was like
beginning.
trying to help him. Actually, like he was like, Tony, you know, you got to turn things around.
Yeah,
This is
genuinely cared about him.
not. Yeah,
Yep.
dead.
Deadzo, laying on the
Gina's
floor.
devastated.
They just got married.
Yeah. Oh right, they got secretly married,
They
and they were
secretly got
gonna
married.
surprise Tony.
Also, he doesn't know his friend's address.
I know. I guess not. I mean, everything revolves around Tony. You know,
Yeah.
everything happens at Tony's house.
I suppose it's believable.
Eh.
I thought that was a little weird because like as mama is telling him the address.
Seems like it would have been cool if it had dawned on him. Oh my god, that's Fez's house.
It seems like you totally could have done it that way, but I guess
Yeah.
you wouldn't have snapped as intensely.
Right. You have to have the seeing red thing, I guess.
Yeah, because by the way, Gina, don't.
We see
around-
the area between her tits so much in this movie.
Yeah, like just close the robe.
Why cover your boobs if you're going to expose that part?
Either
It's all
be
part of
naked
the same
or
package.
close the robe,
Yeah.
right? And obviously, just be naked.
I don't agree. That would be a different kind of movie.
Yeah.
But anyway, so she's devastated. They take her back to his mansion. You start to see all these men climbing the fence, and you're like, oh, shit.
Sosa has sent men.
And at first, you're like, maybe it's the cops. Or at least I was.
No, I knew exactly what.
But there was that scene with the phone call with Sosa. So I
funny
think a
thing
normal
about that
person
scene
would be
is-
like, this is Sosa's men.
Yeah, the funny thing is about that is Tony's security is horrible.
He's not. Well, it's suddenly he was so paranoid, and he's like, let's beef it up. And he was suspicious of a van who'd been like outside his home.
Yeah.
But now he's like not even looking at the cameras. He's clearly fucked up because he killed his friend.
Yeah.
I mean,
But
all
one
this,
day he doesn't look at his cameras.
and all these men are climbing the walls. And
Yep.
so then there's this really, really uncomfortable incest scene.
Well, Gina has snapped. Her
She's-
husband has just been murdered by her
For
fucking
the love, not just
crazy
her husband,
brother.
the love of her life.
Yeah.
And yeah, she comes in with that in
She's
between
making a good
boob.
point. She's snapped, obviously, but she's making a good point.
She's
What
like,
do
oh, you want
want
to fuck me, eh?
Yeah, she's like, if
So fuck me, Tony.
Yeah, it's crazy. She's shooting at him.
Yeah, and like
Just
laughing.
wildly shooting at him, saying, "If you obviously can't stand if another man touches me, so
Meanwhile-
it's you who wants to fuck me."
He's blasted.
Oh, so high.
And then it shows this guy who looks like Omar. And I was like, because he has like sunglasses on, and I'm like, if Omar's not dead, and this is Omar working for Sosa, holy shit. But
What
it
I
never
have
reveals
is
that that's him.
Cuban Terminator.
Absolutely.
This dude is the slowest man. Also, he's completely silent. He sneaks up behind that guy and shoots him point blank with a shotgun, and he's wearing sunglasses in pitch
It is
darkness.
like 3 a.m.
He's a fucking robot.
He is the Terminator.
I think there's a plot point where this movie Tony Montana starts Judgment Day, and they sent.
This was the trial. They were like, well, let's also kill this guy.
Yeah.
Everything is fucked. Is what I have next.
Yeah. And
The
it is.
guys are starting to attack. I mean, Tony is, his sister gets immediately murdered.
God, she gets lit up.
Yeah, and he thinks she's gonna be okay. He's like
Oof.
fucked and
He's so gone. He's like talking to her and stuff.
yeah,
She
he's
gets
like
shot more
caressing
than
her
anybody.
face and kissing her cheek, and he's like, "I'll be right back. Okay, stay here." And I'm
Yeah.
like, "She's drooling blood, but okay." I said, you know, that his house. This is like I don't have any notes for the actual shootout because
Well, look, it's insane. It's people are dying everywhere.
it's epic.
Tony finally is like, all right. You can almost tell he is like, I'm gonna die here. He goes into it with just like, I'm gonna just
I
take
don't
as
know.
many people out as he could.
I don't know because he's telling her, "I'm gonna be right back." And does he know that she's dead and he's just doing that for himself,
It's hard
or
to say.
is he really believe that
I think
everything
he's
might be
maybe
okay?
just so out of his fucking mind that it's
I mean, with that much cocaine, like
Yeah.
I don't know how his nose didn't just fall off.
right.
Ouch.
So he has a machine gun with a grenade launcher attachment on the bottom,
Oh, you want to play rough?
and then here
Okay.
comes the classic.
Say hello to my little friend.
Perfect.
Thank
Got a
you.
little Russian at the end, but
Oh well,
but pretty good. And he shoots that scene corresponds to him shooting a grenade at the door to his black office.
I laughed out loud.
Yeah.
I was like, "What on earth? It was a bomb!" Like it's so over the top.
Yeah.
It's hilarious. And then it becomes a regular gun, and he's shooting, and
It's
he's killing
both.
a lot of
It's
people.
a grenade launcher attachment to the bottom of his
Yeah.
gun.
And he's shooting a lot of people, but of course, Sosa
Killing a
has
lot of
way
people.
more men.
But what I love the most about this shootout is he is getting hit. I can't stand
I
movies.
almost made a note about that too because I was like, it's like he's one of those crackheads that is kind of invincible.
That's exactly what it's like.
'Cause he's on so much coke, yeah.
He's numb. His whole body's numb. God. He can't. He's
That's the
getting.
dream.
But more importantly, the guys who are shooting at him aren't. It's not stormtrooper aim. I love that.
No, they're just like spraying.
They're hitting him.
Yeah.
Some bullets
Oh, yeah.
he's falling
Oh,
down.
I see what
he's
you
getting
mean.
hit.
I see what you mean.
I hate
In movies, how they're not running zigzag, but they're not getting shot. I'm like, how hard is it to shoot?
They're shooting back, and
Pretty basic
they're
to
hitting
shoot a gun.
everybody. The protagonist will hit everybody, and
right.
the bad guys will miss. I love that he gets hit.
Right.
I love it. And then he eventually drops his gun and is screaming at them, saying, "I'll take your bullets. I'll take your bullets," and is just getting shot. Meanwhile, Cuban Terminator
is right behind him, slowly approaching him. He's like, I'm gonna get the kill
taking
shot.
his sweet time, by the way.
No, he's not worried. He's going to get
a
him.
machine. That's why he's not worried.
He has a striking resemblance to that guy they hung from the helicopter.
I guess.
Oh my,
I can see
his
that.
face. And I kept waiting. I'm like, this is why he's wearing sunglasses. He's gonna take them off. It's gonna be this big reveal. That could have been cool, but well.
Like the sunglasses
It
were
wasn't.
hiding his identity.
He just strolled down the stairs slowly.
If I put glasses on, do you not know who I am?
I'm just like, it's a reveal. Whatever.
Okay.
It's for dramatic effect.
Okay.
But that never happens. So he kills Tony.
Shoots him square in the back.
And then he just
Tony falls off the balcony
lands
right
in
into
his pool.
with above him
His indoor
the
pool.
statue holding the world, saying "The world is yours."
Yeah.
In a pool of his own blood.
And Sunglass Man just strides slowly down the stairs and exits the house.
In a sense, that guy is obviously a low-ranking person, and guess what he just did? Committed his first assassination.
He's the new
Hence,
Scarface.
the communist dictator cycle.
That's
what I think.
Yeah,
the
that's a really
communist
good
vibe.
Metaphor to take away from this.
It absolute power corrupts absolutely. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's.
Yep.
I think there's definitely something into that.
Yeah, be
But
American.
then it's a little shocking. That's it.
It's over.
He hits the water, and when he hits the
Boom.
water, you were 10 seconds away from credits rolling.
Yeah, you're like, oh, that's what the movie is just about him. Bye.
It's not like there's no
There's no
aftermath
resolution.
or anything.
We don't know what happens to Mama. She's probably devastated.
Oh, absolutely.
Both her kids are dead.
Yeah. That's what I love the most about it, too, is it is a fucking tragedy.
I mean, yeah, it's definitely like, hey, don't do this.
Yeah, but that's another thing about the general vibe of this whole movie is it has, when people discuss it, it has like the connotation of Scarface is like, you want to be Scarface. People are like, yeah,
But
he's
why
my
would
hero.
you? Terrible.
You don't want to.
Of course not. He never is happy this entire time.
He smiles like 3 times.
And it's only in the beginning when he's like not really
Mm-hmm.
got that much power yet.
Yeah, the more success he gets, the less happy he is.
Which I think is either made by a really poor person or is true.
Yeah, it's like the
They're like,
elite
no,
are
I'm
no,
fine.
trust me, you want to stay poor. Trust me, it's horrible.
Well,
out
but
there.
like in that restaurant scene, those families were rich. They seemed perfectly happy. If you work hard, but you know, if you're a kingpin, that's not.
Mm-hmm. But maybe they're not. Like
However,
you said, none of all of them are just better at hiding the shit that they've done.
wasps.
Yeah.
Yeah. The note that I took away from this is that it's interesting how it was his morality refusing to kill the mother and the children rather than his immorality that got Tony killed. However, it was his immorality that made him miserable.
Yep.
It's very interesting takeaway. Like he was doing fine the more immoral he was, honestly.
Yeah. That's how he got more of the success in the material.
But like, what's the
realm.
takeaway from that? Just don't do any of it, or
Don't.
stick to your morality guns.
That if
even
you-
if it brings upon your downfall. Like, what's the lesson?
The lesson is that if you care about material possessions that much. You
will die.
You were just as much of a slave as if you were being whipped on a farm. You literally he's trapped.
I would actually argue that you're more of like sheeple, like a robot. If you worry about, like, you're trying to keep up with the Joneses, it's like you can't even have a thought of your own.
You're a tiger chained to a tree.
Boom. That's the end of this podcast. Please subscribe. I'm just kidding.
That is a perfect
much,
sum up, though.
Like, for real. When I saw that, and it makes a point to kind of zoom in on the tiger on a leash, and I'm like, I'm not very good at symbolism, but damn.
Yeah. That one is
face.
like, this is obviously, like, look at this.
But it's only there for a second, and then there's no more mention of it, and you're like, well, shit.
Yeah.
That's definitely pointed.
All right. So let's obviously, I think we know where we stand. Does this live up to the hype?
It does live up to the hype. I absolutely loved this movie, but I don't think you need to see it.
What?
I know that sounds weird, but like I mean, you get it. You probably get it before.
So you think you already understood everything you needed to know about this movie before you saw it?
I got a few things wrong, but like it's not, I mean, and there were definitely times in this movie where something unexpected happened and I was like, oh, what? But I don't know. I think it was really good. And if you like movies of this genre, see it. But if you don't see it, like, I think we did a good job of explaining the references. You know what I mean?
Okay. So you think you're good. All right. Interesting. I didn't expect you to say that.
Yeah.
To me, watching this movie again, I think this movie is definitely, you have to see it.
Yeah.
Because I think the thing you think this movie is about is incorrect. I think the vibes that people, like, when people think about this movie who haven't seen it, all of the references, you think it's Al Pacino doing an accent slamming his face into a pile of cocaine.
It looks more crazy than it really is.
It's like a flamboyant gangster story.
Right.
And it's not.
Yeah.
It's not.
It's not.
It's not.
It's a sad movie.
It's a tragedy with interesting, dynamic characters, and I think it's awesome.
Yeah,
it is
awesome.
Great.
It is awesome. It's a great movie. I'm not going to buy an extra large Scarface shirt.
No, maybe we can use it as a tapestry or something.
So I do think that the hype is maybe a little bit inflated. Just because you see that stuff so much, like the T-shirts.
It is but it's popular for the wrong reasons.
That's what I mean. Like, it's a different kind of hype than it should have.
Yeah, I agree.
So take that with what you know.
I think if more people saw the movie, I think that would fix that.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe. I get that.
All right.
Cool. I would say B-.
B-. I think. This is the first one, and next time we won't have to explain the podcast, hopefully.
Yeah, and we rambled a lot. We're just trying to get into this. I mean, the first 5 are gonna.
It's hard, kind of.
It's totally hard.
Yeah.
But
hard.
Honestly, we got into more detail than I thought I would remember, so I'm happy about that.
I'm glad that there was a lot of bullet points in my notes. Is there anything in your notes that you wanted to?
No, I think I covered all of them. I would even backtrack and be like, no, but the last thing I said here is the world is yours thing. It kind of hovers on that. Mm-hmm. So meaningful. No, it's not. It's not yours. Goodbye. Like, how dare you? It's for everyone. You should know that, you communist. I'm just kidding. But anyway, I thought that was like a very interesting thing to show. Like, because that's what it showed in the blimp as he got his rise. And that's the last thing you saw, really, after he fell.
I have one note in here. There was something in the food truck that says Manny or Mammy for 20 cents. What do you think that could be?
Mammy. Is it a type of candy?
M-E-Y or M-A-N-E-Y?
Maybe a type of candy?
I don't know. I just thought that was interesting.
Huh.
That's the only note I didn't cover, I think. But okay.
Well, we didn't talk about the car as much as I wanted to. The car was hilarious.
It's hilarious. And then the new car he buys is like it looks like a Porsche. Yeah. And it was $43,000.
Which for the 80s is a lot. And you think about, like, the Porsches back then looked like assholes.
Yeah.
Like, there's the same Porsche in that in Friends, right? That's what Ross has.
I don't know if it's the same kind.
It looks like the same kind of model. I don't know if it's the exact same, but it just looks like shit. If you're not going to buy a convertible, why would you spend that much? Why would you have a convertible and be like, no, I want this tiny little tin can instead? Just the Porsches look terrible back then.
I don't know.
Anyway.
All right.
That's our show.
That's it.
Please give us feedback and subscribe if you liked it and leave us comments or whatever. And thank you for listening. Goodbye.
Goodbye.